Hey friend, welcome to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. I'm Gabby Flater, a faith-led wife, mom of 3, certified nutrition consultant, personal trainer, and passionate about changing lives. I know how frustrating it can be to navigate the health and wellness world. You want to be motivated to prioritize your well-being and wish you were more educated when it comes to cultivating a healthy home. Maybe you're a mom who's completely burnt out and needs a fresh perspective on life, or you're searching for a place to feel seen, heard, and encouraged in a godly manner. No matter if you're doing the dishes, getting your sweat on, or drinking reheated coffee while watching the kids play, there is always an opportunity for growth. If you are ready to finally take action about these desires and are ready to learn, grow, and transform your mind, then you are in the right place. It's time to establish deeper roots so you can enjoy a more fruitful and fulfilling harvest. Let's dig in. Hey friends, and welcome to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. My name is Gabby, and this is episode number 80. And I am so grateful to have you here this week to tune in for some encouragement, some golden nuggets, just hanging out with your girl, Gabby. And we are going to have a great conversation today. But I just wanted to ask if you have not already left a rating and review for the show. I'm going to start this episode off with just a quick call to action. If you are enjoying this show, if you talk about it, if you've reached out to me and tell me how much you love it, I would appreciate so much if you would take 2 seconds. Go to Apple Podcast, click on the show, scroll down, leave an honest rating and review. It would mean so much to me. I would like to continue to bank up more of those this year. Share it with those that you know would find value here, whether that's just personally or just on your social media. Screenshot it, put it in your stories, share it on wherever. It does not matter other than that we just get this stuff out in the world. I know that I appreciate so much free content that I absorb, and I try to do my best of sharing, commenting, liking, reviewing. I know it's so hard sometimes where I'm like, I should leave more reviews. So just know that they mean a lot to people like me in the world doing things like this for you. So thank you very much for doing that and for supporting the show and just for being here today. So we are going to talk about a basic topic that's just kind of cliche when I say the title, but I think it's one, I might have mentioned it. Honestly, I think I talked about it in a prior podcast, and I liked the saying. I'm sure I'm not the one that came up with it, but I liked it. So it's seasons for a reason. Okay. And I live in the Midwest. I've grown up here my whole life. And so I am very used to experiencing all the seasons. And hey, if you're lucky, you can experience all the seasons in one day. It's been bonkers here. It's March, by the way. Happy March. I am recording as of March 1st here. And yeah, we've had some ridiculous weather, let me tell you. Where you were getting like 70-degree days, and then it drops to 17 and windy overnight. So I don't know how we drop 50 degrees. But hey, and then it's thunderstorming when you go to bed, and then there's snow on the ground when you wake up. So, that's just what we get. And it's windy, and then it's not. And it's sunny, and then it's not. And it's rainy, and then it's not. And then it's snowing, and it's not. And it's hot, and then it's not. And oh my gosh, my kids don't even know how to dress. They all pulled out their flip-flops the other day when we went to go visit my mom. And we wore the flip-flops out to the farm, and it was great. My kids were in shorts and t-shirts, and then the next day I was like, no, you can't leave the house with those on. It's 20 degrees out. Put your boots and your winter coat on. Oh man. But anyway, coming back to it, seasons for a reason. So just understanding, like, living here, and I think it just helps me to appreciate each season. Now, I've not lived in, say, Florida or Texas or other areas that, I don't know how you would approach the different seasons, like how you feel. I just don't know how you feel the shift Like when it's Christmas, it's supposed to be cold. Like I don't know how I would not be able to handle that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I would get used to it, but I appreciate the different seasons because I know that one will not last forever and the other one will come. And so when I'm done with winter, I have something to look forward to coming. And I love spring and I love fall. Summer is like fine, but I hate super humid and I don't like super duper hot. And winter, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's just not my fave. I like the in-betweeners. So we're still in winter, soon to be hitting spring, which is exciting. And as a gardener, like the seasons are important to me and they matter and they help. And I have to roll with it. So just recognizing, each season serves a purpose. And so I kind of wanted to give the analogy of those in relation to our lives. And, each season is eagerly awaited, as one season has just seemed like far too much. It's been far too long. And you don't find any more joy in it, and it's hard to battle through it anymore. And how much of life do we go through seasons where it's just really hard? Quick side note, March is a really exciting month for multiple reasons, but it's also a really hard month. It's bittersweet. And just to go, it never used to be bittersweet. It just used to be sweet. And these are just seasons of life that you go through that alter different aspects of your life and how you journey through it. And I lost my best friend 4 years ago, almost, on March 13th. And that has tainted this month for me, in a sense, where, you usually once the new year hits, January, February, and March are still harder as many emotions subconsciously begin to, I don't know. If you've ever walked through grief or have recognized patterns in your emotions when you aren't, like I've learned when certain months come around, like, oh, why am I so edgy, or why am I so emotional, or why am I so just tired or unmotivated or feeling really remorseful or reflective. And it's honestly just because subconsciously my brain remembers us going through this time of year in a like fight or flight mode, like just trying to survive. And so subconsciously just things happen. And so March, just is harder. But it's also a really awesome month. My fourth child, my little daughter, will be turning 1. So she was born almost a year ago. That was March 10th. This podcast will be celebrating its 3rd year, right? Year 3? Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. And then my birthday will be at the end of the month. So lots of exciting things and a really hard thing. So just trying to work through that. But going back to, understanding that getting through seasons, you enter a new one, and whether that's like, physically or like with the actual seasons of, the weather and all of that, or just in general with life, you enter a new one and you're all excited, or it just feels refreshing. It's new, it's invigorating, it's inviting. But then sometimes you just hit that plateau, you hit that portion where you just feel like sludging through it and you don't know how to keep going. It feels hard. You're not finding much joy in it. You're ready for the next thing, right? And it kind of fits my personality because I'm someone that loves variety. I love new things. I tend to not like things to always be the same. I like things to change up, spontaneity. Basically, I just don't like to be bored. So, I love surprises, all of those things. So that is something that I think draws me to really love the Midwest, is just the exciting newness of each season. And yeah, so trying to understand, like, if you think about the different seasons, it kind of can flow with the way that you live life, where, winter feels like a slow season, a cozy season where you can just slow down, not be as busy, really make warm, nourishing meals, read more books, cozy up, reset, recover mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of those things. Just really spend a lot of quality time with those that you love, because you're not out and about the hustle and the bustle of things. If it's cold and there's just less going on in the world after Christmas time or the holidays. And I think it's just a season that really could force us to slow down, and I'm learning that, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. And then you hit spring, and it's just like, like you forget how inviting it is, and just the newness, and you think of just the new life that's coming up from the ground and in your gardens and just all around you, and you hear the birds chirping, and so it's just a time of refreshment, of like you are like unlayering all of the layers from winter and coming out and breathing in the fresh air, ready to take on a new season, and ready to get to it, like start planning. You're like, okay, like we've been in this rest portion, let's get excited and plan and organize what's going to come forth in fruition from this spring into the summer. And so you start to get to work in the spring, and you start to plan, and you start to dream, and you start to foster and acquire resources and things for whatever it is that you're wanting to pursue. And if you just kind of picture your life ebbing and flowing with the different seasons and how much they really can fall in line with each other. And then summer is just like, we're just busy, go, go, go. We're outside a lot, just lots of plans, lots of, and there's hard work, but there's also fun. You're not inside as much. You're eating just so much fresh food, not as much like not nourished, but like cozy, warm, not heavier, but like, you know what I mean, very what's the word, satisfying, and oh my gosh, what is the word, not salty, why am I thinking, and not sweet, savory, there we go. I'm like, what's the word, savory, very savory meals. And summer is just like fresh and juicy and cold and crisp and ripe and crunchy and like just colorful, all of those kinds of things. And then fall is kind of like where you start to decompress, and you start to start analyzing the things that went right and went wrong, and start to be appreciative and grateful for the things in your life and all that you accomplished from spring through summer into now. And you start to kind of tidy up those things in your life. Honestly, all I keep thinking of is just like gardening. But like whatever it is in your life, if you kind of just start to find that rhythm, I think it's just a beautiful thing of living in harmony with those seasons as well. My husband works, so what's funny though is my husband works the most he ever works in the slowest season of the year for everything else. Every career has their busy seasons, and for him it's during winter. And so then for me to slow down almost just feels, this feels almost like our grind season, like really heavy. but I just kept feeling this pull of like, how can I make it less busy? And I still don't feel that I've nailed it, but I'm more aware of it than I ever have been, and I think that's the first step. And with tax season, it's hard enough keeping up. I have 4 kids now, a homeschool, a home to care for, this podcast to manage, and I teach at the Y and personal training clients virtually, and just, and serving family and other friends, and then just my other passions and pursuits with running and fitness, and just so many different avenues. And I just felt like, what is God asking of me? I just felt this pull of like, gotta slow down. It doesn't have to look the same every day of the year. Like, it can look different, Gabby. And I know that so I was feeling, what is God asking of me? And what is he asking me to lay down? And in the grand scheme of it, as I looked at it, it's just 3 months out of the year. But that's still 90 days. And it's a season. This is the season of life that we're in. And I'm busy, but how can I be less busy with the busy of my home? And so it's just learning to say no to things, even if they're good things. It's not easy when we're in the thick of all of this to look at it in such a positive manner as a growth opportunity, but I'm sure trying to do my best to not be so type A about it all, and just like sometimes let the days go as they need to. And yes, we homeschool, and yes, we still try to make it a priority, but some days it can just look different because we can. And the day when we randomly got like a 60 and 70 degree day, it was like, no, you get to go play outside, because guess what? Everyone else is stuck in school. So we'll do our Bible reading, and then you know what? If we want to do a little bit of school later, we can. But they like flew out the door, and it was fine. I actually did school with my oldest while two of my kids just played in the sandbox, and it was beautiful. And then they played outside the rest of the day. So, it's just trying to let go of some structure. Again, doesn't have to look the same the whole entire year. But each season has its purpose. And I know I mentioned that, I was working through my thoughts and emotions around my birthday run, with it being tax season, whether or not I was going to run my age in miles. And I broached the topic with my husband because I didn't want to keep pressing on and following some training plan that he had no idea about. And then we get to the point where he's like, what the heck are you doing? How do you even think that you're going to manage this? So back up. So my husband works from home majority of the time. Lately, it's been 1 or 2 days a week in the office. And so tax season, he's starting work between 4:30 and 5 a.m. and he works until 6 or 6:30 at night. God bless working from home. It's a huge lifesaver. And just been a huge blessing with little people. And in prior years, obviously we didn't have 4 children. It takes time. But in prior years, he was a little more flexible. Things looked a little different, and it was okay if I wasn't back. If it was the early hours, I could go out and do runs. I was training for something, or I was just out meeting up with a run for someone, or I was out on my own teaching early classes. No big deal. Back at a certain time, that was still reasonable. Like some of the kids, like back when we had like just 2 kids, the boys, like no big deal. This really didn't happen until 2020. So I'd say the last 2 tax seasons, I felt like, wow, I've been able to do so many things I haven't been able to, just because he gets to work from home, and it's awesome. It's so cool, and we can make it work, and it's really great. I don't have to run on the treadmill as much, or try and find other times to run outside, and or push the stroller, or all the things, which is hard in winter. I just can't do that. It's just too cold. My kids are not going to be, I can't push them in the snow, and they're not going to ride their bikes on the bike path because they're covered. But this year he really, we have 4 kids. Our house is demanding. We're homeschooling now, and just things look different. And I think he, just feeling more of the weight of, the promotions in his career, and the priority that it is, which it is. He provides for our family, and I'm super grateful for it, and should never be taken lightly or for granted. And it's not that he wants to go to work at 4:30, 5 a.m. every day for the next, 75 days, but he does it because he loves his family, and he knows that's his calling and his purpose, and this is his grind season. And so recognizing that my other things are not a priority over that. And so when we talked about the birthday run and what it would require of me for training so that I don't just hurt myself, like I could go run it, guys. Like I really could go run 31 miles. March 29th is my birthday. I turned 31. I wanted to make it the year that I ran actually my age in miles. I have friends that do that, and I thought it would be really cool. It's also known as a 50K. That's the distance. So I'd love to run, my first 50K the year I turned 31. So that's kind of just become the goal. It's not going to happen on my birthday. He just respectfully was like, I want you to do that. I see that. He's not a runner. He's not into fitness as much as I am. Like he's active in other ways, but just like it's not his thing. And so it's not that he doesn't understand. He gets me and he understands. But respectfully was like, hey, can this happen like on your half birthday or just in a different season when it's better? As we kind of went back and forth, and I was crabby at first, but then I was like, no, I get it because I want it, but I also understand that I can't have it on exactly on my birthday. I know it's not going to make sense. It's not ideal. You need that time. You need that space to not be half on dad mode in case a baby wakes up or in case the kid wakes up, which 95% of the time they are still asleep until I would be back before 7 a.m. or something. But getting up and getting out and running outside is very far and few between. I do ask every now and again, it's not that I need his permission, but I do need to respect that he doesn't want to be having that in the back of his brain, like she's not home, so I probably need to go in every 20 minutes just to make sure, baby's not crying or whatever. If someone's up, they're okay. And again, most of the time they're not. But there have been a couple instances, but he needs to stay focused. That's his time. I get it. I respect it. And so we just agreed. However, I still have been running many miles. It's just been 90% treadmill. I don't know how. I've learned to shift my focus and my mental state around the treadmill. I've learned to really enjoy it. I've found ways to keep myself occupied, things to think about, listen to. There are speed days and there are just recovery days. And then there are maybe 1 or 2 days a week where I can get outside. Trying not to make every Sunday my only day outside for running, or trying to not make Sunday a day that I run. Sometimes I will, because that is the one day he's not working. But I also understand that's the one day he's not working. So I want to be able to let him sleep in. See, this is the dilemma, guys. Or the only day we get to have a slow morning together. When are we, we're both up early. Why do we need to do that? Why do I need to force myself out of bed early on a Sunday all the time? So not every Sunday does it happen, but there are the few that, I will take advantage of. And we kind of figure out the rhythm and the dance. So the birthday run, I'm excited. I'm just going to generalize it that the year I turn 31, which is this year, I'm going to run my age in miles, which is basically my first 50K, whether it's a race I sign up for eventually or just I have plenty of friends that will help me coordinate it, will crew me, run with me, support me. It doesn't matter. I would honestly rather I'd love that. So I think I'd love it to be a little mixture of road and trail. But again, seasons of life, guys. And and you're probably like, what a crazy thing to even just want to do. What, But, that's just one thing, one area in my life. And so I just wanted to share that I had to lay that down and let that go. But that each season is priming us. It serves a purpose in life, just like it serves a purpose in the seasons of the weather, the changing seasons. Some are blooming and warm and happy and bright, and others are dark and cold and sad and long, which is where I'm at right now. Some just feel like a time warp where things just feel at a standstill. There's no, I wrote these things down. There's no real transition or change that has occurred. And once it hits spring, I feel like that's a big transition season. So life has its seasons whether we want them or not, just like the weather. We can't control it. Like, we're going to get what we get. And it's all in how we choose to receive them, how we choose to grow through them, how we choose to embrace them. And when it's time to slow down, you can't keep expecting the pace to keep going and expect it to work well or not leave you stressed when you're forcing it. Like, how often have you just felt like, how do I even keep up with this? Maybe you're not supposed to. I've been running like 30 to 40 miles a week. I'll just be honest. Higher on the 40 end. But I still get up early and I do it. Maybe I need to lay that down more and rest more and run later in the day, or just nix it and run less. I don't know. It's just an area of my life that I feel it's easy to show up for. It gives me a boost of energy for my day. It's a place I can clear my head, process things, learn from God, move my body, because that's just what it craves and what it knows. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm also recognizing, I need energy to conserve for my children and my family. But then I'm sacrificing my sleep if I'm getting up early so that I don't have to let that eat into my day. So if you get what I'm saying. So it's all a balancing act. But when it's a season of hard work, then there's little rest. And so we need to understand when is the season of hard work and when is the season of more rest. And I have recognized another area that God was asking of me was to lay down, to let go of, that was keeping me on this like busy mode. And it was a lot of just subconscious things, and it was my phone and it's social media. And if you follow me, I have been sharing in spurts, but also just like other days, I'm just not on it at all. I deleted the apps, Instagram and Facebook, from my screen. They're still on my phone, but I don't have notifications on. I have to purposely open the app in order to see any messages or notifications. I'm not here to go off the grid completely. I just needed less of it in my life. I felt like, wow, I think what the problem is I am oversaturated with and inundated with so much information all at once that I just can't process any more things, to then the point of it affects me as a mom and a wife. And I think more than I think it does. And so I'm trying to figure out the balance. And honestly, it's more of just like saying no to it and not needing it. Like, there are times I'm like, Gabby, why are you saving this recipe? You're not even going to make it. You've saved 50 bajillion other ones thinking you're going to make it, or it's going to change everything for you. And then you forget about it 5 minutes later, because then you learned about this, shirt that you need now, or this new fact about health, and then, oh, look at that mom, she's got it all together, and then, oh, she can do all that, well, she's got all those kids too, I should be able to. What is my problem? And as much as I'm like, don't compare, because that's the thief of joy, and I think in some ways I was and am, but I don't think I am, if that makes any sense. So I just needed to stop consuming, is pretty much what it is if I'm going to go on, I need to be purposeful, whether it's to get back to a message, to share something that's going to help somebody else. Sometimes, I'll share a quick victory or win with my kids, or something that we accomplished. But really trying to just lessen my consumption, because it was overstimulating my brain, making me edgy, lash out at my kids or something. just tipped me over. And it really wasn't that thing. It was just like my brain couldn't keep up with 10 different topics of information because we weren't wired to be able. I mean, just think back then. The iPhones aren't even that old. The first one came out in like what, 07 or something. I never even had social media. I had zero texting, no iPhone, no iPod. Well, I had an iPod. I was spoiled. My grandma got it for me. But needless to say, taking pictures and videos and sharing and all the things, like, it was not a thing in my world, and I'm so grateful. I'm like the last of the generations to like not have that, and I didn't struggle with any of that, and we never got the news so fast, like an instant. And I think it just all heightened since 2020 for me. And I think it just all, just subconsciously would grab my phone. I would check out and like, why was I opening Instagram? Did I even have a purpose? Why am I scrolling? I could have gotten X, Y, and Z done, or I could have just sat and played with my kids, or just like not been doing anything and just not stimulated, like learning to actually just be present. And that is part of what I feel God was asking me. That's how I need to slow down, it's lessening the consumption and the noise of the world and being more present and intentional with the people in my life, which I feel I do a really good job at. We have really great communities between our family and friends and church that we're very purposeful in, with physical interaction, in community and serving and fellowshipping with. But I can also hide behind a screen real easy. We all can hide behind screens real easy. And then I'm like, I just don't have it in me to want to share every single detail of every day, as much as it's exciting. But like, why do I need to put it on a reel, on a highlight reel? And I try to do my best of sharing the highs and the lows, because it is not picture perfect. And so, this podcast, the goal of it is to really just bring it all here. And I want to bring more attention to things here. And draw people here and be purposeful with Rooted in Health, and with how I'm trying to serve my community and those beyond, the close community, but then the worldwide community that I get to interact with, for those that get connected to me through this. And so, social media can be awesome, and it can be dangerous, it can be scary, it can be exhausting, it can be overstimulating, it can steal from you your time, your energy, your confidence. And honestly, that's just the devil. That's just Satan really just like attacking and thinking that we need to find purpose and meaning behind this, on this screen. And how many likes did you get? I find that that's something that, like, I just want to see who liked it and who commented and all the things. And then it's like, but who cares? Like, sometimes it's just too much. And I just sometimes want to just throw in the towel and say, I'm all done with all of that stuff. Let's just live life. But then I really do love the free content and the resources and the help. And so it's just, I think God really is just trying to teach me something, and is shifting. I'm shifting and trying to figure out what that looks like. So if you see less of me online, I'm still here. Make sure you keep coming here for the podcast. I'm still getting to the point of wanting to revamp my website. I have sourdough that I'm still baking. I'm trying out a new order form for that. So just like more technical things, more long project things, than opposed to like trying to create some reel or a post or whatever. Like, yeah. And what's worth it? Like, when it comes down to it, what is worth it? And I want to look at my life and my goal with Rooted in Health, and as a mom and a wife and a person, a human, the long run. And that's like what we talk about with our health and our fitness, like the long run. Like, we're in it for the long run, the long haul. So we need to approach it that way, and not be so reactive in the moment to so many little things. And honestly, I'm just speaking to myself. I don't know if any of this resonates with you, but hey, I'm here processing it. But I wanted to end on a note, seasons, and because I read scriptures and God's word is a part of my life and our everyday as much as we can. I couldn't help but just think of the one section in the Bible that talks about seasons, and it's in Ecclesiastes 3, and I'm just going to read it. Whether or not you believe in God or are unsure of where you're at or read the Bible at all, I think just take this with a grain of salt. Just listen to it, because it actually, it's wise, it's wisdom, and anyone would, Christian or not, follower of God or not, like, could understand what this scripture is saying, and it's very relatable to just life in general. And so I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 3. It says, it's a time for everything. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, right? So just in general, everyone will have life. We will be born, and then there will come a day when we die. Like, that's not a holy biblical thing. Like, that's just the concept of life. Like, that's just it. So again, just bear with me. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, all you gardeners. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to break up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. So just think about that. In verse 11, it says, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, He has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. Nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. I perceive that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God has done it so that people fear before him. That which is already has been. That which is to be already has been. And God seeks what has been driven away. So just let that sink in. Go ahead and pull it up, read it, open your Bible, pull it up on your phone. Just reflect on that. I hope that this encouraged you. It kind of just really encouraged myself, honestly. I encouraged myself. But, it's honestly just so it's good to reflect. It's good to journal. It's good to slow down. It's good to shift. And it's all just going to show you that growth needs to happen, because you can't stay the same and expect the same things to happen the same way all the time, 365 days of the year, and that it's always going to feel good. Like, no, seasons, my friends, because there's going to come that month when you're going to lose that one person you love, or the job that you have, or you're going to have to make some big changes in life, or maybe you've added to your family and it looks different. You've had to move. You've had to make new friendships. You've lost relationships. Your health has taken a turn. It's not in our control, and it's all in how we are going to approach it and embrace it and move forward and ebb and flow with the different seasons and respect them and honor them for what they are, what they're going to give us, what they're going to teach us, and move forward with them, and just have grace with yourself, because I know that I'm still not feeling I'm not perfect in what I'm trying to achieve, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So slow down, my friends, so that we can speed up when it's the right time to speed up, and then we can reflect and we can gather together and think of all the things we've accomplished, and then we can slow down again, and then we can speed up, and then we can reflect, and just keep going with that. So with that, my friends, I will catch you on the next episode. For more from me, you can see me when I'm online. You can hang out here on the podcast. You can email me at gabby.com gab.flater@getrootedinhealth with any questions, concerns, topic recommendations, or any other health, wellness, motherhood related things. And I will see you here next week. All right. Bye, friends.